Hey there. Taking a rest? That's cool. Pretty much what I'm doing too. It's been wild these past few days. Eggman is retired, Metal Sonic is de-weaponized, and everything is cool. I've been seeing some sights with Rouge out in Central City. Helped Omega out with some directions, and ran a couple errands for Cream and her mom. Tails has been busy keeping track of things. Amy's definitely got her hands full. And as for Whisper and Tangle, I think they've got things figured out. Yep. It's like if anything could go worse today, it'd probably be now. Jinx did.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama. Welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation, and our Paws On Comics podcast.
And today we're covering something slightly different for the comic section. Sonic, IDW's famous Metal Virus arc.
And what's different is this is actually the final podcast for us for Sonic Month.
Yes.
And a society podcast, which
yes.
we normally do comics on. So, a lot of firsts.
Yes.
So now, while we do plan to cover the IDW series as a whole on its own, we wanted to cover this arc in its own podcast. And it's so good that it's not only considered the best arc in the comics, it's also considered the best by Mama. And it's considered one of the best Sonic stories ever made. So after Starline succeeds in bringing back Eggman, the latter creates the metal virus that will put anyone who touches it under his control. Not only does it work, but even Sonic almost couldn't win. But
before we start, be sure to like, subscribe for the case of future podcasts and multiple pause videos.
And thank you so much for joining us today, subscribing, sharing videos, commenting, everything you do, specials. We appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Specials.
Specials. Very special.
We love you. I could not believe how much I like this.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I had no idea about it because I didn't know about it. And when you had me read it, and I was like, dang, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good. I did not expect that from a Sonic comic.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I do remember seeing this come up online a lot. And sort of in the dark about it because before then we actually hadn't read much of the IDW. We had heard about that in the Archie one, but we could not get it at the time for a while. And there's been videos online talking about this arc specifically. And what's stranger is that this is like one of the beginnings of the series. The way this is panning out, you would think it was the end. We actually ended up reading it and we enjoyed it. It was very different from what we thought. And then when it got to this Metal Virus arc, you're like, okay, it's just gotta be something typical zombie style infection type arc and they'll get over it easily. And then like it went to the 4th issue, and the 5th issue, the 6th issue. We're going almost 10 issues in. It's still not over. And this thing is becoming Shibuya arc of Sonic.
And it's so funny because even when it ended, I was like, dang, it should have gone longer. I don't know if that's bad or not.
Right, I don't know because some will think it's too long.
I was waiting for more things to happen and it ended. I was like, wow, that was really good. And you know something's really good when you don't want it to end.
Yeah.
And this is how I felt about the virus arc. So for those of you not familiar with the Metal Virus arc, it's an object that appears in the Sonic the Hedgehog series and is spin-offs published by IDW. Mm-hmm. It was concocted virus created by Dr. Eggman, so it's synthetic, and it transmutes organic matter into metallic matter. Its purpose, of course, is to turn people into robotic slaves for Eggman's army called Zombots, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the virus, unfortunately, as it always happens in movies and stories, quickly fell out of his control and spread through the entirety of Earth, and it became almost the equivalent of the Batman one we read where the virus took over.
Right.
So, of course, we wouldn't have the other comics if it hadn't been eradicated. It was eventually eradicated, but what you went through reading what happened before, this to me was the equivalent of a comic, anthropomorphic, fantasy.
It's kind of hard to kind of find the different genres for it, I guess.
It could have been written by Kirkman himself. Seriously. To me, it was that good. So I guess it could be that version of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But Kirkman could have written himself.
Yeah.
Himself. I thought it was that good in terms of a comic.
Right. And again, this arc became
Robert Kirkman.
Yeah, of course we know what you mean. You said Walking Dead, that should be enough. This arc has become it has its own legacy now, and it's been quite a few years now since it's been out. Again, this was like near the beginning, like right after they finished the Neo Metal Sonic arc and introduced Starline. I don't think anyone expected this to be in the story, especially this soon. It felt like this should have been at the end of the series, which I can agree on, but still, for the place it was at, especially involving new characters, they did a great job of writing it. And this went on for so long, and what's made it stand out the most, besides Eggman actually having something that worked and Sonic couldn't beat, was that they treated it very seriously. It wasn't something you took lightly. They made it seem like, oh, you just beat it up, or you can just eradicate it, it's fine. But almost every single possible way out of it failed.
Yeah.
Tails had a cure, 2 cures, both of them were gone. The ones who could possibly get rid of it, they were incapacitated. And it just kept spreading faster and faster, even to the point even Sonic got infected.
And I think that was interesting before I get to the issues it appeared in. Sonic, the only way he could keep it from taking over was to keep running.
Yes.
That was crazy. It's like, okay, he has to keep running. That's the only way he can keep it from taking over his body.
Yeah.
He would stop to talk to people, and then he had to go ahead and start running again before it would cover his body. It was like, this is crazy.
Yeah. It's like the Eggman.
But that was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was actually
different.
brilliant writing.
Yes. Yeah, it was actually something different. And what he would do is that, like you said, he would go back and forth, like check different towns to see if they were quarantined or not, or find people that were safe, and then come back and see how others were doing, where it was like a safe house or HQ. And it was spreading so rapidly that he almost couldn't stop at certain places. Like by the time he get there, most of the people were gone, and he had to get the few that were left out of there.
Yeah.
And new characters like Tangle and stuff were succumbing to it, and it was rough. This was not treated lightly in the side, or like, oh, this is a parody of a zombie arc.
No.
This is treated like it's the real thing, and these characters were not gonna make it if it succeeded in taking over everything.
Also, before we get to other characters who we know that couldn't do anything either, it was odd that it first appeared in the number 8 volume. Then they waited 4 issues before it came back in volume 12.
Right.
Like they weren't sure should they go ahead with it, or they weren't sure if it was going to be well received. But once it's like they learned, or that once they had a story idea, it went from volume 8 to volume 12, and then 12 through 21.
Right. You're correct.
So, like I said, when it got to 21, like I said, I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. I wanted to keep going. I wanted to keep going.
Right. It was like, Zombie, you could have seen this be its own series. And people have done that where an AU, like, what if they didn't stop it and it did actually take over, and it took months or even years to eradicate it? Because people really got attached to it, not just because they are fans of horror or zombie arcs or the Infection AU, which really took off a couple years ago. It's just, it was so well done, and you didn't expect it to be well done in Sonic of all things.
I would say this is probably Ian Flynn's best one.
Yeah,
it really is, because I was just
invested.
Yes,
right?
I was captivated. I couldn't, get enough of reading it. I was like, okay, when are we going to get the next volume?
Right.
Do we have it yet? Is there more? And you said, oh yeah, it's not ending yet. I was like, dang.
Yeah, it is like,
and
it just
then
keeps
I
going.
think in a couple of the volumes, they put other stuff in, and I was upset that they put other stories in with it. I'm like, why is it by itself?
Right. It's like it's one continuing story, or just leave it as is and put the other stuff at the end.
And they should make a whole volume.
Yes.
That's just all of those put together.
I think that will work, because you have collections of mini-series where they're standalone and not specifically connected to whatever you're reading in the main comics. Yes, I think Metal Virus having its own volume and collection would definitely sell, because this has become one of the biggest arcs in all of Sonic. Whether you compare it to Archie or comparing it to some other comic, this is pretty much considered their best one.
So before we get to Knuckles and the others, Ian Flynn revealed that he actually conceived this long before the conception of IDD publishing Sonic the Hedgehog series. He said that it was made for Sonic the Hedgehog by Archie Comics as a replacement for the original Roboticizer.
Yeah, because remember you were
in the post Super Genesis way. So this was an idea that he had been sitting on and planning.
Yeah.
And
so it got canceled after they stopped doing the Archie comics.
Right. And believe it or not, the nanobots resemble bacteriophages. So when you say it's not a joke, it wasn't like some little fun cutie thing or something that looked insignificant. No, it looks scientifically like a virus with the spears and everything.
Yeah.
And that when you looked at it with the naked eye, it looked like a gray metallic liquid. But if you looked at it under the microscope, it looked like a bacteriophage. Again, he really had thought this out.
Yes. And that's probably part of what makes it so good. It wasn't just a flash in the pan thing. Some might argue it's overrated or went on too long or there's no consequence because these characters are new, you don't care about them. Well, I'm sorry, I have to disagree with that because when it got Tangled, everyone was crying, including me and Whisper.
Yes.
So it was so well done that characters you only had known for a little while, being succumbed to it was affecting the reader because you were seeing them fight to the end and trying not to succumb to it. So yeah, I'm sorry. Didn't matter if they were new or they were old characters. Everyone that succumbed to it, it was affecting people.
Now, two things about that. One, you thought when he got a hold of Knuckles, it was like, okay, Knuckles gonna knock it out, you know, and Knuckles went fast. And that's when I knew that something was wrong. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then you had Shadow.
Yeah, immediately people hated that.
And we're like, oh my gosh, Shadow and Knuckles can't help him. And it's over. And what really made me think that they were going to end it, I didn't know, because it kept going.
Right.
Issue after issue. And I was like, are they even going to get out of this?
Right.
It looked like it was going to be the end of the Sonic world. That's how you know it was written really well, because it wasn't like you could tell from reading it there was going to be a lighthearted or quick ending or some trope ending. It wasn't. It kept going on and it kept dragging other things in. And another thing that stood out about it, I read, is as long as it was living, no matter whether it was human, animal, flora, fauna, it didn't matter. It turned everything.
Yes. And they also hit it towards it when they had Silver in the previous issue saying he went to the future, because for a while his future just kept getting messed up every other day. And in this one, it was exactly what he said. There was no life on Earth. It was just desolate and lifeless. And he said he doesn't know what happened in the past where it just wiped out any sort of living life on the planet, and you find out it was this metal virus.
Yeah.
And he's the only reason why he's there is to keep the planet from really being destroyed. So when they got to this, like you said, Shadow and Knuckles were out immediately. Silver seemed to be immune because of his powers.
Future.
Right. And Sonic was only half immune, but then one of them said it was beginning to wear off.
Yeah.
Running was beginning not to help because it was starting to take over fast. He had to constantly run. He couldn't even leave. Because the second he stopped, he almost was completely covered. So it was like everything was this high stakes race against the clock type story all the way to the end when Sonic and Silver teamed up to wipe it out. And something they used the super form to finally do it, because if that wasn't it, Sonic was about to be lost too at the very last second. If he hadn't transformed, that would be the end of Sonic.
And like I said, it reminds me of that Batman zombie one, because it happened the same way, and I don't know if they were inspired by Sonic, because it's really similar.
Right.
So I'm going to read this quickly. When the metal virus makes contact with active organic tissue, be it either flora or fauna, the virus spread across the cells of the subject and infect them, transmuting them into a metal-like substance on a molecular level. That was the scary part.
Yeah.
On a molecular level. It cannot transmutate processed or inorganic matter such as food, processed wood, metal or stone, although clothing worn by living beings appears to be an exception.
Right.
So it was weird how he had formatted this to work. You've never seen, whether it's live action animated, in writing,
there's nothing
anything
else
I
like
read,
it.
there was nothing else like this.
Exactly. And you get this, well, two things I mentioned. One, you compare this to what you got later, like much later, you had Marvel Zombies, which was already a thing long before IDW. And people were waiting to see that adapted. And then we saw part of it and we're like, what the heck is this? They treated the zombie apocalypse, as you said, like it was a joke. Mm-hmm. We're going to say that there's stakes and we got to fix everything and save the people. But the characters were having fun and goofing off and living dangerously and stuff. And it was like, wait, this is awesome. And it's like, how did Sonic take a zombie apocalypse more seriously than a Marvel animated series?
Yeah.
And then this last thing,
and then it did mutate.
Yes.
Just like in the other story,
worse.
They mutated. So, yeah, it was becoming even more difficult to figure out what was going to happen because it was mutating like a virus, like a cold or flu virus or something as it went from living being to living being.
Right. And then, as you said, it didn't affect things that were already metal. So, other character immune was Omega, though he got damaged. Yeah. And one that actually got his own mini comic within it, but it still did the story, was Metal Sonic. Because it has a nearly all silent subsection where he hears about the metal virus and he puts his hand in it. And it just falls off him. And it actually is like a eerie thing to read. Like he still doesn't comprehend what he is. Just seeing that the virus had no effect on him was just like kind of, it was spooky seeing like he just still didn't understand why it wasn't working. You're just sitting like, he doesn't get why this is terrifying. So I do like they kept it serious the entire time. They had, like you said, rules and everything for it. And this was just one arc, but it was done so well. It could have been its own series, as you said, like The Walking Dead. Yes. It was just that good. And when it was over, you probably kind of felt like it was a little bit, not disappointing, but like slight. Because you were glad
I told you I was wanting to keep going.
And
I was like, is this wrong that I want this to keep going?
And then Sonic lost his memory and it felt like that was going to a new arc. And then like within the next issue, he's right back and he's okay. It's like, thanks to Blaze. Like,
it almost felt like they told them, stop writing this. Yes.
That you gotta stop. Because that felt like it was another arc. He was in Blaze Dimension. He didn't remember who he was. And like one issue later, she gets his memory back. He's back and everything's back to normal. And it was like, that felt like it was setting up another arc. Yes. Like, what were they going to do without Sonic being there to protect them?
And like the publishers did not want it to keep going. It was like, why don't you see where it goes? Because, again, this is the best one for me.
Yes.
That I've read. And I really hope they put it in, like you said, into a compilation.
Yeah.
Where you can buy. Because this, I would buy and read it all. And I told you, I said, I would love to read this all over again and see what I missed, what I didn't see on the page. I would love to read it again.
There's even people online who've done comic dubs and they format like you're watching a motion comic or an audio drama of a animated series, and it's that good. They take it that serious, like you're watching it live on TV. So kudos to everyone who does the dubbing for these comics and really put the effort into making it feel real and feel animated and giving that same atmosphere as you did when you read it. Really love what you guys did.
And don't forget, we didn't mention about the Deadly Six who were involved with helping Eggman spread it.
Right, because Starline was about to kind of betray Eggman because he's not the cool mad genius he thought he was. Like, it's Eggman, what'd you think?
Right.
And he thought he would easily take over them, and then they betrayed him, and they were going to take over who was left within the, who was uninfected by the virus. And they had taken the emerald, like, oh, we still got to get the 7 dang emeralds, even in all of this. Mm-hmm. And to the point where Zavok was taking lead and was controlling all the zombots. Like, it just keeps getting worse. Like, what was going to happen if they didn't fix it? He's just going to take over the planet with them?
Yes.
And the fact that these guys were hated in the game they were in before, Lost World. I've never played it, but they were really hated. I think their stats really changed after the virus arc and the latter arcs they appeared as antagonists one more time. So just fantastic writing all around. I disagree with people thinking it's overrated, or it's not enough of this, or it's not graphic enough, or whatever. What it was fantastic.
And it was unique, and I hope we get to see something like this again. I really, really did enjoy it. When I say I enjoyed it, I really, really enjoyed it.
It could be its own animated movie.
Yeah.
If they had to, you could just forget everything else. You just adapt the Metal Virus arc, that would sell as an animated movie. As like a DVD movie or something, that would definitely work.
But we know that's not going to happen.
Unfortunately.
So this was a great way we felt to end this month because it was exciting. And if you haven't read it, you really need to. But if you have read the Metal Virus arc, Sonic the Hedgehog IDW comics, let us know in the comments, what did you think of it? Were you as excited as we were, or did you think it was blah or mid, or had you seen it all before? If you love it, tell us the reasons why you love it. If you haven't read it, get to the library. Again, get volume 8 and then get volumes 12 through 21 and read it, because it's an exciting read. And don't do like me and get upset when they put some other stuff in there you don't want. They're like, I want to see just about the virus. Don't put these other stories in here. And if they had done that, it probably only would have taken up a couple of volumes, but at least you would have had them be together and all the same story in one book. And that's how it should be read.
Right, absolutely.
But if you haven't read it and you do get a chance to read it, come back and tell us what you think.
And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates, book reviews for your anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today. As always, you are a special.
Thanks so much for watching Master Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Hit her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket.